All right. Thank you all for being here with us today. My name is Chelsea Farr. I'm the Senior Director of Philanthropy here at the Sacramento Region Community Foundation. We're excited to share with you some great information today about the foundation, about planned giving in general, and of course about our new Charitable Gift Annuities program. We're excited to share with you how that will work, how you can get involved with that. And let's go ahead and jump into it here.
Welcome, everybody. Glad you could join us for this today. So we thought we'd start out and just kind of talk about what is planned giving. I've been trying to explain to my wife probably for 20 years what it is that I do, but essentially we're working with generous people to support great organizations. So that's my job description. But how do we do that? It's kind of a process of working with donors, helping them develop gifts that are arranged primarily through wills and trusts. You'll see the vast majority of your gifts that are realized come through wills and trusts. So we're making those plans today. Typically, that's going to be a gift that's allocated for a future date, and most often that happens when the donor passes away. That's not every scenario, but it covers most of them. So that's a pretty good working definition of what planned giving is. A lot of relationships involved in those conversations with their advisors, with their family, with the donors themselves. So we're ready for that next slide. So if that's planned giving, why do you want to be involved in planned gifts? As an organization, you have access to a lot more donors when you're talking about planned gifts. If you think about who your major gift donors are, pool is probably, they've seen estimates like it's 5 times larger. You could anticipate that it's 5 times larger than your major gift pool of donors. These are typically larger gifts. You'll see anywhere from 100, 200 times the size of an annual gift as somebody's average bequest. So if somebody was making annual gifts of $1,000 a year, you could anticipate if they've set up a planned gift in their estate that could be $100,000, $200,000. It's a very workable number. You're also developing much deeper donor conversations. This is not transactional work. You're getting into conversations with donors about their legacies, about your organizational legacy. You're talking about them providing for themselves during their retirement, providing for their loved ones. What's the best way to set up those kinds of gifts? And to do the planned gift job properly, you have to get in and ask those nosy questions, do it appropriately so that the donor doesn't feel forced to answer. But there's a lot of good training out there on how to have those conversations. And we happen to have president of the Planned Giving Forum with us today, Chelsea. And so I'd encourage you that if you haven't been involved with Planned Giving Forum of Greater Sacramento, take advantage of the trainings that they have. You'll learn to have these deeper conversations with donors and learn more about the planned gift options. So it's a great training and networking opportunity. So there's a little plug for that. We've got a lot of good resources in our region for you if planned giving is something that you're definitely interested in pursuing for your program. So again, it's a great donor base and it allows you to have deeper conversations with your donors. So this is a very basic list. There are more options, but what kind of gifts kind of fall under those planned gift conversations that you'd be having? We said not every gift is a deferred gift. So there are current gift options. Those can be appreciated gifts of securities or real estate. Those make good current gift options. The qualified charitable distributions from IRAs for donors that have to take their required minimum distributions. This is a great option if they don't need that income. And they can actually do that now at age 70 and a half without even having to take required minimum distributions. So if you have donors that have accumulated lots of money in their IRAs, this is a great gift option. It's a way for them to get money out of their IRA without having to pay an income tax on it. There are the deferred gift options, and these are the vast majority of what you'll see from planned gifts is the gift through a will or living trust where your organization has been named as a beneficiary in that document. You'll also see beneficiary designations on IRAs and retirement accounts. This is a really smart gift to give tax-wise if your donors have named heirs as beneficiaries, if they got their kids or somebody named as a beneficiary and are benefiting your organization through their will. If they do a little flip-flop on that and direct those IRA monies to your organization through a beneficiary designation, their heirs won't have to pay income tax on those distributions. So it's a good tax savings method of making gifts to charity through the IRAs. And then we'll be touching on one of the life income gift options. So those are charitable gift annuities and charitable remainder trusts, gifts that can be made by a donor to a separate entity, and then they receive an income for their lifetime. And then after they've passed away, funds are released to their nonprofit organization. So those are the kind of the basic methods. There are others involved with some of the options, but these are the ones you'll see most often. So why would you work with us at the foundation? We've got great professional resources here, experience in planned giving, experience in these conversations. Donors are developing their own legacy funds. They've got nonprofits funds named in their plans. We're having those conversations and involving their advisors through our philanthropic advisor forum. And we've gone through the licensing process to get through the California Department of Insurance to get the license to be able to offer gift annuities in California. And that's a lengthy process and one that we've taken care of. So it's an easy solution just to kind of step right into. And I think that's what kind of differentiates us. We've got, and we'll get into kind of some of the work that we'll be doing together in the future, but you've got local people here that can meet with you, meet with your donors to talk through these options. So the charitable gift annuity basics. So what is it and why do donors like them? That's kind of what we're getting at with this slide. So a charitable gift annuity is an irrevocable gift. So once the donor makes the gift, they can't go back and get their principal back. So you have to have that part of the conversation with them as well. It's a simple agreement between the donor and the community foundation. It's a 2 or 3 page agreement. Outlines the date of the gift, the size of the gift, how the size and frequency of the payments coming back to the donor. So it's very simple as opposed to something like a charitable remainder trust document that might be 20 pages. This one's easy to understand, easy to walk through with donors. And one of the things that they really like about the charitable gift annuity is the flexibility. We've got a couple sample cases coming up, but donors can do deferred gift annuities. They can do immediate gift annuities. It can be set up for up to 2 lives. And so they could do it for themselves and a loved one. They can start those deferred payments anytime in the future. There are flexible deferred options, but it's really coming down to they're providing themselves with a retirement income for the future. So that's another real benefit that they like. We run into other considerations on why a donor might not be able to make an outright contribution. And a lot of times it is that retirement income aspect. They'll receive immediate income tax deduction savings from the gift. And there's always philanthropy involved in these. If they were just looking for retirement income, there's probably a commercial annuity alternative that can get them more retirement income. It's not going to provide them with the tax savings, and it's not going to address their philanthropic plans. So you're working with people that are philanthropic, and this is one component for them to achieve some personal financial goals while still achieving their philanthropic goals. So how does this thing work? So the flow chart is here. The donor gifts the assets, enters into that agreement, gifts assets to the foundation, which go into a segregated gift annuity reserve fund. For that gift, they get an immediate income tax deduction and will also receive, a lifetime income for themselves and or a loved one. And then at their passing, the residue that's left in that gift annuity reserve from that initial gift is then distributed out to you as the nonprofit partner. And we'll talk about how that gets done as well. So that's the very simple flow of these gifts. There's really not a whole lot to that aspect of it. But what kind of payout rates are we talking about? These rates are not set by the foundation. They're set by a national organization, which is the American Council on Gift Annuities. They run through all the actuarial calculations, develop investment growth projections, look at the mortality tables, and they've set these rates. And the rates are really set such that if all those conservative, and they're pretty conservative investment returns are met, donor lives to their normal life expectancy, half of that initial gift would be left at the end of their life. So actual performance is typically much better than that, but they're set conservatively. And these are what the payout rates would look like at the various ages. There's a payout rate for every age and every age combination. We start here at age 65, which we'll touch on is our minimum age for gift annuitants in our program. So you can see if you've got donors, if you got a donor that's age 80 and they've got a CD maturing, something like that. My mom was happy just to get into, bank accounts that were paying 4.5% now. It's like, woohoo, that feels like a lot. But if you got somebody who's looking for extra income beyond that and wanting to do something philanthropic, wanting to get some income tax deduction at age 80, you can see they get an 8.1% return on their money. Guaranteed for their lifetime. So a pretty good gift alternative there, particularly coming out of low interest rate environments. So let's look at our first case study here. Sue Smith has a $100,000 CD maturing, loves what your organization is doing, would love to make a major gift, but there's a reservation. And that's why we're not talking major gift with her. But the good news is you don't have to just walk away from that conversation, say, thanks for thinking of us. It's well, that's great. Have you considered a charitable gift annuity? She's concerned about outliving her retirement income. This gift annuity at her age 75 would pay her 7%. Even better news is that through her life expectancy, which according to the tables is through 2035, $4,600 of that $7,000 would be tax-free through 2035. In addition to that, she'd get a $42,000 immediate income tax deduction. That's a deduction that they can use in the year of the gift. And if it's a really large gift, they got up to a 5-year window beyond that to use that full deduction. Since she's concerned about outliving her income, but it's just a reservation that she has. Year by year, you've maintained good relationship with her. So you're talking with her. If she doesn't need that $7,000 that she received, maybe that's something that she could donate to your organization. If she knows she's not going to need it for the next 5 years or so, we're talking potentially a good pledge candidate for a major gift. So something like that, you could work out a $35,000 pledge, pay $7,000 a year over 5 years. So it doesn't preclude you from talking about those. You've created some extra cash flow for her giving. Is there a question in there? Nope. Nope. Good. So case study number 2. Jim and June Lane, age 80. So they've got highly appreciated long-term capital gains stock. That's the LTCG. So long-term capital gains. So if they sell it themselves with a $100,000 cost basis, they're facing $20,000 plus of capital gains tax. And that's probably just at the federal level, not really taking into consideration California tax as well. Again, they love your work, want to support your work, but have a concern. Getting older, healthcare costs are going up, concerned about giving away too much too soon. So this was another good fit for a life income gift. Have you considered a charitable gift annuity? At their ages, 6.9% payout rate. It's the 2 lives, so the 2 lives drop the payout rates down. So $13,800 a year for their lifetimes. Same would go to the surviving spouse. In their case, about 1/3 of this is tax-free through their life expectancies in 2036. The other portions do get taxed as capital gain and ordinary income. And in their case, they would get a $40,000 plus income tax deduction at the time of making that gift. So in this scenario, you've helped them avoid 20,000 plus in capital gains tax, provided them with a $40,000 plus income tax deduction. So they've avoided or saved significant taxes along the way, as well as addressing kind of their retirement income concerns. And again, they've got extra cash flow now where you could talk to them about increasing the size of their annual gifts or doing a major gift out of that as well. One of the important things in our program is that these donors, they remain your donors. You maintain your relationships with them throughout the process. So I want to point that out at the very beginning. That's if you're having concerns that we're going to come in and just start working with your donors, that won't be the case. The folks that we're looking to work with you on, minimum age is 65 plus. The best gift annuity prospects are really age 75 plus anyway. 65 less likely to be interested in a fixed income source, but as the donors are getting older, they like the idea of locking in a fixed income from this type of a gift. The minimum gift amount in our program is $25,000. We're keeping it simple on the acceptable gifts. So we're talking about gifts of cash and gifts of appreciated stock. We can keep that pretty simple. It's not vanilla, maybe it's French vanilla with a little flecks of vanilla bean in there. So it's a little fancy and not just super plain. But this is, we're keeping it simple. The conversations are easy around gifts of cash. People moving money out of CDs or looking for an alternative to a CD. The gift residue at the donor's passing, that is a 70-30 split, 70% to your organization, 30% is retained by the community foundation for the gift annuity program, administrative services. And that happens at the donor's passing. So there's no cost during the donor's lifetime. There's no cost for our services. Happy to be available to you for those donor conversations. Well, early on, we can offer donor meetings. Not sure how many of those there might be long-term, but certainly early on as you're getting up to speed working with your donors and going through those asks, we're happy to be a part of that cultivation strategy session, solicitation, however you want to work together on that. As the donors are working through the kind of the prospect and proposal stage. During the donor's lifetime, you're maintaining stewardship. We'll be doing some stewardship outreach with the donors to make sure we've got current information for the tax filings. They get 1099s at the end of every year. So we want to be checking in with them to make sure we've got accurate mailing information and to see that bank account information hasn't changed. Most of these payments are coming through on direct deposit. So we're wanting to make sure that we've got accurate banking information. And then after a donor's passing, we're working together to acknowledge that family, acknowledge the gift, and then make sure that those funds get directed either to your nonprofit fund here or directly to your organization. So we're working with you at the donor's passing as well. We handle all that gift administration and investment side of it. So it's, like I said, it's gift annuities made easy. We handle all the tax filings with the California Department of Insurance, tax filings for the donors, all that gets handled. So try to keep it simple, handle all that, all the rest of the admin investments behind the scenes. So next step, we're going through this pretty quickly. But next steps, we've developed a simple MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and we'd encourage you to have that conversation with your president, chief executive, to enter into that agreement. It simply states what you're responsible for, what we're responsible for, kind of how we'd be working together. Again, there's no cost or other obligation to you, but we'd encourage you to really get that step done so that you can start thinking about your own marketing plan. Start identifying your donors and how you're going to reach out to those donors. Year end is typically a good time, not too late in the year. We need some time for processing, but this is typically a good time of year to start developing those plans for end of year outreach to get that idea out in front of your donors. Worked with a lot of donors that have done multiple gift annuities too. So I think the most was probably 9 gift annuities. As they get older, those payout rates go up. So donors like to renew them, get a new one, and take advantage of that higher payout rate. So as you start thinking about those plans, who those donors might be, that 65 plus crowd that's in your donor database, starting with those closest to your organization, your annual fund donors. If you've got major gift donors, they would be a natural part of this as well. And then you can reach out to me. My email's there, contact information to talk about donors, talk about your prospects, talks about your next steps, either internally or kind of the forward-facing reaching out to the donors. So happy to work with you on any of those steps along the way.